I have been a journalist for more than 8 years now. And here at IndiaSpend, I covered environment and climate change along with another colleague. So both of us bring to you stories about um, India's environment and the impact of climate change that we are seeing around us on a daily basis. So many of you must be in parts of the country where it hasn't rained yet. Some of you might have experienced a first few showers of rain. We had some showers of rain in Mumbai today. So whenever we see some fluctuations in from the regular pattern of the weather, it may be triggered by climate change. So climate change is here impacting our daily lives every day. So thank you for joining. I can see so many of you have joined. And I would like to tell you a little bit about the book that you can win here today. After playing, that three of you can win today, the winners of Game of Facts. The name of the book is Flood and Fury. It is by Viju B. He is a senior journalist. He has worked here in Mumbai as well as other parts of the country. So the book maps the destruction and the impact on the Western Ghats after the 2018 Kerala floods. There were some devastating floods in the state of Kerala in 2018. In fact, the floods impacted more than 5 states at the time. And so Mr. Viju B traveled across the Western Ghats at the time, and he documented the the changes in the Western Ghats, the mining, the quarrying over the years, the destruction of Western Ghats that that made them particularly fragile to ecological disasters. Floods and landslides are not new to India, but the impact of man-made or activities undertaken by man in various parts of the Western Ghats have impacted them critically. They are a World Heritage Site, and they are very, very important not only for the flora, fauna of the region, but also um, for human beings living in and around those. I would also like to tell all of you before we begin. I know all of you are eager to begin the quiz. Before we begin, I'd like to tell all of you about a workshop that IndiaSpend will be hosting. This workshop is particularly for journalists. If any journalists have joined, journalism students, students of public policy, on reporting on climate change. So in this day and age, as I said, climate change is here around us for us to see and feel in our daily lives. So if anyone is interested in taking up reporting on climate change in the future, even as a citizen journalist or a student journalist or eventually as a journalist, we will be hosting a series of workshops later this year. So please watch out for those. Please watch out for information on those. Do follow us on social media, IFQ, IndiaSpend, and you will find the information there. So I know all of you are excited to begin the quiz. Um, it is 5:05 and I will now start sharing my screen. So welcome, welcome. So many of you have joined. So many are still joining. So we will Allow as many people to join as possible. Um, so thank you, um, Anna, Vanshika, Sagar, Madan, Tej, Mayur, Udit, Vinod, Kartikeya, Padmaja, Priya, uh, B. Manoj Kumar. So many of you have joined. I am so glad to see the enthusiasm, particularly towards environment. We celebrated World Environment Day on 5th of June. Um, so, yes, welcome Lina, Sage, Niharika. Um, wow, so many of you. So, as you can see on my screen, the game pin is there. Um, and we will begin as soon as a few more have joined. So, as some of you might know, IFQ is brought to you by Azim Premji University. Um, we do this in collaboration with them. I thought all of you should know that. Um, and I am also quite curious to know if all of you have heard of Viju B's book, Flood and Fury, the one that we are giving out today. Three lucky winners will get that book. Um, so yes, and all right, so we can begin now. Um, I will be starting the quiz from my end. There are some poll questions in the beginning. This is to get you all nice and warmed up, and then the actual quiz will start. Here we go. All right, this is a check game of facts with me, Tanvi Deshpande. Here are some poll questions. When planning a vacation, do you like to travel solo, travel with friends, travel with strangers, or travel with family? So, don't you love their choice of GIF? I love this GIF that this person is so excited. Okay, so what do all of you prefer? Personally, I prefer traveling with family. Oh, well, look at all of you. So many of you have said that you enjoy traveling with family, and I'm also glad that 7 people have said that you enjoy traveling solo, which is also great. That's something that all of us are discovering now. Um, the joys of solo travel. I did one in 2017. All right, next poll question. When packing for a trip, I always end up with excess luggage, like to keep it light, can never decide what to pack and what not to pack. Really like someone else to pack for me. 5 seconds. I would be very happy if someone packed for me. I would just give them everything I need. Okay, 17 of you have said that you like to keep it light. All right. Okay. And these days, with the kind of staycations and vacations that everyone's taking, keeping it light is always desirable. Next question. This is the word cloud, guys. The first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, you just have to type your answer. You have 20 more seconds for this since you have to type this out. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. All right. Wow. Okay. Oh, drink water. Okay. I like this person. Then people have written sleeping. Okay. Sleep some more. Yes, definitely. Code. Okay. Oh, wow. Who likes to code? The first thing they wake up. Amazing. Check mails, check the time, exercising, brushing, using the phone, going back to sleep. Yes, I'm in that club. Drinking hot water. Okay. Praying, meditation. Oh wow. Drinking cold water, exercising. Um Amazing, amazing. I'm so happy to see the diversity of answers here. I thought a lot of people will say that they just check their phone, check their messages. So this is fantastic. All right, moving on to the next question. Okay, so here we begin. This is the part where the actual quiz begins. So I hope all of you are ready. All of you know the rules, and any queries can be sent to the chat box. Here we go. Game of Facts with Tanvi Deshpande, and three of you will win Flood and Fury. This is a true or false question, guys, and it's for double points. More than 75% of Indian districts are extreme climate event hotspots. Is it true or is it false? You have 12 more seconds. All right. So 38 of you have said that the answer is true, and that's correct because so this interesting piece of data was brought to you from a report by the Council on Energy, Environment and Water. It's a Delhi-based think tank. So they had come out with a report that where they map the vulnerability of districts or regions in India. And they came out with some stark results where they said that 75% of these districts are vulnerable to extreme climate events. It could be anything. It could be floods, it could be heat waves, it could be droughts, it could be landslides. But yes, majority of our districts are vulnerable to extreme climate. So now it's time to take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, Darshan is leading on the scoreboard with 2000 points, closely followed by Aditya, Shreyan, Anuj, and Kishore. All right, congratulations, all of you. And here we move on to the next question. This is a quiz question. This is estimated to reduce the average life expectancy of a child born in India by at least 1.5 years. Is it cardiovascular diseases? Is it air pollution? Is it water pollution? Or is it tuberculosis? All right, 26 of you, majority of you got it right. The correct answer is air pollution. Air pollution in India, as all of you know, is a major killer. Um, it is expected to reduce life expectancy of children born in India. This data was included in an IndiaSpend story that we did in 2019 as well as in 2020. Air pollution particularly affects children. It affects our senior citizens and particularly children who are born in India in 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 the last decades will have their life expectancy reduced by 1.5 years due to sustained exposure to air pollution. So I'm so glad 26 of you got it right. So now let's take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, Darshan. Okay, Swati is leading now. at 2,900 points, and Mayur is a close second. At okay, he's just 10 points behind. Trayan is on number 3. Udit Nair is on number 4, and Padmaja is on number 5. Okay, someone named Sage is up 15 places. He's the highest climber. Okay, then. All right. Moving on to the next question. This is another quiz question. This is the number of people that could be impacted by climate change in Mumbai by the year 2035. 77 million, 127 million, 27 million, or is it 7 million? 18 more seconds. All right. So 19 of you got the answer correct. The correct answer is 27 million. So this data was brought to you in an IPCC report. What is IPCC? IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Basically, it is a body made up of the foremost scientists of the world. Basically, it has, let's say, Indian scientists writing the chapters on India, then you have scientists of every country writing chapters. And IPCC came out with 3 to 4 reports recently. What it does is it basically it's the last word on the state of the climate that we are living in and the pace of climate change that we are seeing in the world right now. So IPCC in its report pointed out that of the projected population in Mumbai by the year 2035, 27 million people will be impacted by climate change by the year 2035. So it's time to take a look at the scoreboard again. Okay, we have Anuj leading on number 1, followed by Ayush, another Anuj, Mr. Anuj Rajiv, followed by Gaurav, followed by Sagar. Okay. All right. We are on to the next question. I hope all of you are having a good time and all of you are learning also a little bit. Please do read all the stories that we are sharing in the chat box, all the IndiaSpend stories that we have done on these subjects or including these subjects are in the chat box. Do if any subject interests you, do take the time to read those stories. You will definitely go back with a little more knowledge of environment and climate change today. All right, so we move on to the next question. This is another quiz question, everyone, and it's for double points. The number of hours of labor lost in India annually due to the impacts of humid heat is 159 billion hours, 59 billion hours, 359 billion hours, or 259 billion hours. Remember, this is the number of hours of labor lost to humid heat annually. 7 more seconds. 45 of you have logged answers already. All right, so 17 of you got it correct. It is 259 billion hours. So how does heat impact labor? As we saw, as all of you know, India had a lot of heat waves this season, this summer season in April and May. So all of us, particularly those of us who can undertake work from home, sort of try to beat the heat by staying indoors as much as possible. But for the most vulnerable sections of the society, these are agricultural laborers, farmers, these are laborers at construction sites, all sorts of other kind of labor, as well as vendors, delivery persons. So all these people are extremely vulnerable to the impact of humid heat. And when we say number of hours of labor lost, That means that the impact of heat is so severe that that either workers have to let go of certain hours of the day, sort of recalibrate their day, which impacts their daily wages. So that's a serious impact that heat has on our laborers, where they lose out on either income, or they bear the impact of that heat wave at that moment. All right, let's take a look at the scoreboard again. Okay, Ayush has stepped up the ladder, and so has Anuj Rajiv, Gaurav, Padmaja, and Sage are following just closely behind. Okay, okay. So it's like it's a close competition, really, especially because the difference between Ayush and Anuj Rajiv is quite thin. All right. So we move on to the next question now. This is a true or false question, everyone. By 2050, 95% of the world's population will live in urban areas. Is it true or false? 10 more seconds. Okay, so 26 of you got it right, that the answer is false. So this fact was also brought to you by another IPCC report, which said that by the year 2050, yes, majority of the population will be living in urban areas with the pace of urbanization that we are seeing right now, but that percentage is 70%. So by the year 2050, 70% of our population will be living in urban areas and not 95. This this was a trick question where we got you there, because yes, majority of people will be living in urban areas. The pace of urbanization is really fast globally, um, but the percentage is 75. Here we take a look at the scoreboard again. Okay, Ayush has maintained his lead, closely followed by Gaurav and Padmaja. All right. And Rhea B and Sage are catching up. This is a true or false question, guys. April 22 had the highest number of heat waves and severe heat wave incidents in India. We just spoke about heat. Um, so is this true or false? You have 10 more seconds. All right. So only 10 of you got it right. The correct answer is false, because the correct way of, or rather, the correct fact, or the fact here is April 22 had the second highest number of heat wave and severe heat wave incidents in India. So, what was the highest? That was April 2010. So, in April 22, we saw 146 such incidents, whereas in 2010, believe it or not, India had reported more than 400 such incidents. So, how does, just to give you some trivia, how does the Met Office, which is IMD, how does it discriminate, or rather distinguish between heat wave and severe heat wave? Heat wave is when, to put it simply, heat wave is when the daytime temperature of the place that you are living in is at least 45 degrees Celsius, or is 4 to 6 degrees above normal. A normal is basically the expected temperature or the average temperature of the place that you're living in. And if it is 4 to 6 degrees above normal, that's considered a heat wave. Whereas what's a severe heat wave? The same thing, the threshold for severe heat wave is it has to be at least 47 degrees or 6.4 degrees Celsius above normal. 6.4 or above normal. So what that means is basically daytime temperatures have to be extremely unusually high for the IMD to declare it as a heat wave or to record it as a heat wave. Let's check the scoreboard again. I know you guys want me to stop rambling. All right. Sandhya has climbed up the ladder at on number second, but Ayush has maintained his lead once again with 6,000 points. Sandhya is a close second at 5,900. Gaurav is at 5,800. Padmaja and Rhea are at 5,600 and 5,400 respectively. All right, we move on to the next question. Another quiz question, guys. And it's for double points. Dash of the 10 most polluted cities in the world are in India. Is it 0? Is it 6? Is it 9? Is it 10? And you have 20 more seconds for this one. All right, 10 seconds to go. Okay, so 18 of you got it right. The correct answer is 9. So 9 of the 10 most polluted cities in the world are in India. This data was brought to you by a report that was released last year, which stated that, which brought out this stark figure. And I must point out here that this data or this shocking statistic is not new. India has had some of the most polluted cities in the world year on year for in the last decade. Yes, some of you must have guessed it right that New Delhi was also on that list. So were some cities in Uttar Pradesh and the northern states, Punjab, Haryana. They also feature on that list quite regularly. So I had done a story on air quality monitoring uh, here at IndiaSpend, where we checked how many air quality monitors does India have. So, considering our population, um, the number of air quality monitors that we have is about 800, whereas we need a minimum of double of that, which is 1,600 at least, or even going up to 4,000. So we are woefully short of air quality monitors, which means we don't end up monitoring our tier 2, tier 3 cities as much. Some of you must be living there right now. We don't end up monitoring our rural areas that much, and therefore we don't know the air pollution in our rural areas. So let's take a look at the scoreboard and let's see who is leading. All right, Ayush is still leading at 7,600 points, followed by Padmaja, Gaurav, Shri, and Sandhya. Sandhya has climbed the ladder very quickly and now stands at 7,200 points. So well done, all of you. We move on to the next question. India aims to achieve dash% ethanol blending in petrol by the year 2025. Is it 30%? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Or is it 50%? You have 10 seconds. All right, so 18 of you got this correct. The correct answer is 20%. So India recently achieved 10% ethanol blending in petrol by the year 2025. This year. What that means, what is ethanol? Ethanol is a biofuel which is produced using biological or biofeedstock. What could be sugarcane molasses? Um, they could be maize, corn, and basically things that are byproducts from farming that can then be used for the production of ethanol. So, but largely ethanol in India is produced using sugarcane. So, considering the rapid progress that we had in ethanol blending over the years, um, last year India declared its aim to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol by year 2025. What will that achieve? That will reduce our dependency on imported petroleum. That means we will have to, because it's imported, it will reduce our import bill. We spend thousands of dollars or millions of dollars every year on importing petroleum. Plus, ethanol by default is less polluting. So, with an aim to achieve that, India declared this target, which is called the E20 target. You can read more about it here in an explainer that we did that you will find in the chat box. Now, let's take a look at the scoreboard again. All right, so Padmaja has taken the lead. Interesting. At 8,500 points. Ayush is still a close second at 8,400, followed by Shri, Gaurav, and Sandhya. All right. So we move on to the next question now. India's rank in the 2022 Environmental Performance Index. Is it 176? Is it 180? Is it 113? Is it 157? You have 20 seconds. Okay, 35 answers are already in. All right, so 20 of you got this correct. The correct answer is 180. A little bit about this environmental performance index. It is brought out. It was brought out recently by scientists and experts from certain universities and in collaboration with certain environmental policy organization. It is a well respected index, and India ranked 180th on that index this year, which was last. And so India has been doing a lot on the environment front, as we just saw that we are trying to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol. So things like that. But their considering all in all our progress, India ranked last, to which the Indian government released a statement questioning the methodology of this index. And the Indian government has brought forth a lot of points that it believes that the makers or the organizers of this index must take into consideration. Um, so here we take a look at the scoreboard again. All right, so Padmaja is maintaining her lead at 9,400 points, closely followed by Ayush, Shri, they are both at 9,200, Gaurav and Sandhya. Okay then. Next question, guys. This is a puzzle question. That means, and it's for double points. Rank these countries from high to low on the basis of historical carbon emissions. Is it so? Your options that you have to rank are India, European Union, USA, China, and you have 50 more seconds to rank these countries. So why are carbon emissions important? Um, Carbon emissions single-handedly, rather carbon dioxide emissions single-handedly make up a big part of our greenhouse gas emissions. and greenhouse gas emissions cause global warming. All right. So two of you got the order right. Okay. So the correct order right now, the correct order is China, USA, India, and European Union. So a little bit about this. Um, so carbon emissions are over the years, when we look at global warming, um, we know that um the temperature of the earth has been warming from the industrial period, which we say the 1850 onwards. So 1850 to the year 2000 is the 150-year period, which saw rapid warming of the Earth's atmosphere. So at that time, as all of you know, when the industrial revolution happened, um, India was definitely not in the picture when it came to industrial development at the time. Maybe on a small scale, but not as much. Over the years, as industrial progress happened rapidly, so as you know that USA and so many countries in the European Union are developed countries. When we say developed, so they had a lot of industrial progress that happened in the 20th century, which is 1900 onwards. So that's why their emissions started rising as well. After our independence, that is 1947 onwards, as India progressed on every front of the economy. That's how our emissions started increasing. But right now, so when we look at historical carbon emissions, so China now leads the table with at number one, followed by USA, and India, considering our economic growth, our industrial growth, um, our requirement for energy, because coal-fired power plants make up for a lot of our energy requirements, and therefore they contribute to carbon emissions. So considering that, we are on number three. But if you see per capita carbon emissions, which is when you divide the total carbon emissions with a country's population, our per capita emissions are quite low even today. So that is something that is also needs to be taken into consideration. Let's take a look at the scoreboard now. All right, so this was the last question. On number three is Sri. Congratulations with 9,200 points. On number two is Ayush. And on number one, drum roll please, is Padmaja at 9,400 points. Congratulations, all of you. All three of you have won the book that we spoke about, Flood and Fury by Viju B. In fact, Shri and Ayush, the scores are really close together. And Padmaja had a lead of around 200 points. Many, many congratulations. The process of getting this book in your hands will be explained to you in the chat box. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating in this quiz. This quiz, particularly because we did a focused quiz on